Welcome to the Fleet Safety Geeks podcast, where we discuss the latest industry trends, best practices, and strategies for keeping your fleet and its drivers safe on the road. Whether you're a fleet manager, safety professional, or a driver yourself, our goal is to provide valuable insights and actionable tips to help you prevent accidents, protect lives, and promote a culture of safety within your organization. From vehicle maintenance and driver training to regulations and technology, we cover it all. Tune in every week as we explore the challenges and opportunities of fleet safety in today's fast-paced, ever-changing world. Hey, Phil, welcome back to Fleet Safety Geeks. Been a while since I've seen you. We've been summer vacations, working really hard, just all sorts of stuff going on. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, traveling a bit with business. Have not yet had the pleasure of traveling for vacation. That comes later in the year. But yeah, it's been busy, and I know that we haven't seen each other for a little while, but it's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, good to see you. Glad to get another podcast out there talking about fleet safety. And we have a really good topic. There was a meeting when I was on vacation. I was not able to attend, but you were leading it with Corey from NoCell, Lori from Geotab, maybe a few other people. But it was a safety symposium put on by NAFA, right?
Yeah, it was, and it was in Indianapolis. And I have to tell you, this thing was put together very, very quickly. We you as people who follow the podcast know, we recorded from the NAFA booth at the NAFA national meeting for NAFA, the Institute and Expo, back in April, and we got into a discussion with NAFA regarding the fact that really safety wasn't well represented at their national meeting. And NAFA came up with the idea. I think a former guest and friend of the show, Bill Schenkel, from the CEO of NAFA, actually said, well, what are you doing in June? And he kind of, he asked Corey Wojnarowicz, Corey, sorry if I messed up your name, and from NoCell and myself to kind of head up this thing and see what we can do as far as putting a safety symposium together in Indianapolis in conjunction with the NAFA National Board meeting. And we did it. And I have to say, Corey, sorry about that, Bob. I've too many people in my head here. That's because I'm getting old. And you know what? Here, let me just say this too. This is my coffee mug. Okay, see, this my wife got
I'm
me.
jealous. I like it.
Okay, so my wife got me this. I was speaking in Vegas, and it was over our 25th wedding anniversary. So I talked her into going along with me. And so we went to Vegas. We had a great time for our 25th anniversary. And we just celebrated our 40th. So I'm really freaking old. But the thing of it is, this is the problem. That's why I'm off a little bit today. I don't really wash that mug. I use it every morning. Okay, it's about 20 ounces. And I just rinse it out. Well, I put it in the dishwasher last night. And I got to tell you, it really has affected the flavor of the coffee. I mean, it really has. Okay, so I don't know. But anyway, I'm off to the subject here. Sorry. Never wash your mug. Anyway.
Good safety advice from Fleet Safety
Geeks. We got a number of guests to come on, including, again, a number of people that have been on this podcast. Susan Hipp from NETS, and she spoke about their report and all the research that they do as far as driver safety and their global outreach. And then we also had Sharon Etherington from Roche, who was a guest when we were at NAFA. And then also Cindy Fraley from J&J, who, if anybody knows J&J, it's one of the most robust driver safety initiatives of any company I've ever seen. I mean, they are just, if you want to know what to do, look at what Johnson & Johnson is doing. They do it the right way.
We got to have her on.
They absolutely care about their employees and the drivers, and their number one goal is to get their drivers home safely every day. And isn't that what we all should be doing, right? And then Lori Olson was on. Sue Miller, Hall of Famer Sue Miller, was on. And we had some people who were live, other people who were streamed in, and it really went well. I was very, very pleased. I counted 46 heads attending. That was all inclusive, but what was really great was that there were so many new people who were interested, Bob, in safety.
Yes,
They
that's
were
great.
there and, they said, we have a fleet and we're having problems and what can we do? There were some there, like I said, like Cindy Frowley, who has a robust program. And then there were others there that were just starting up. And that's what we need to get. It's all mentorship and helping each other. And that's the thing too, Bob. And as you know, in the fleet industry, people are very, very open and want to help. Well, I find that really true also in the fleet and safety industry,
Absolutely. I do
you
too.
know?
Yeah.
So, and then also we had Pam O'Donnell from the Catch You Later Foundation. Pam had been a guest on our program. She's a friend of the program. And Bob, um, her story is just it's captivating. It's sad. But if it doesn't point out the trouble and the evil of impaired driving, I don't know what does. She lost her husband and her 5-year-old daughter to an impaired driver.
Yeah.
And she started up the foundation, the Catch You Later Foundation, as people who have watched our podcast know this, but for those who haven't, one of her husband's favorite things was when he wouldn't say goodbye, he'd say "catch you later," and
Mm.
so she had survived brain cancer, where they brought her family in to say goodbye to her 4 different times. She survived that, and then they would, her and her husband decided they would renew their vows every year because she survived this. And they had renewed their vows the second time in Mexico. She had photos of that during the presentation. And then soon after that, the impaired driver rear ended her husband as he was at a toll booth, stopped at a toll booth on the New Jersey Turnpike at 55 miles per hour.
Yeah.
The emergency workers didn't even know that her 5-year-old daughter was in the car. It was so crushed. So you can imagine how impactful her presentation was. And then I spoke to the fact that impaired driving is on an increase. And right now, Bob, we're recording this on June 30th. That's when this is being recorded, and we are going into one of the holidays where impaired driving is one of the worst days. People think New Year's Eve or around the Christmas holidays, which is bad. 4th of July is a very bad time for impaired driving. People go to their picnics and their parties, and they party at home, and while they're
Hmm.
just going to run out for a minute, and they're impaired. And now the increased impairment would because of the normalization and legalization of marijuana. And Bob, I've said it before, I don't care what your thoughts are, whether you think marijuana should be legalized or not. I don't care. I don't care. If you want to spark up, but don't get behind the wheel. And there is a
Right.
false narrative that, oh well, if I'm a little high, I'm okay. It's not as bad as drinking. It absolutely is, and I can tell you from experience, having investigated crashes and arrested a number of people over the years for impairment as a result of marijuana use. It is just as bad. It is just as bad. Anything that impairs you, do not get behind the wheel, and that's my concern. And Pam did an excellent, excellent job of presenting that during the symposium. And I know I'm speaking a lot here, buddy. So if you,
No, no, this is great. I wasn't there, and I really wish I was. Pam has a absolutely powerful message to send. I just saw on social media that she won an award for some of the work that she does, and she said, "I didn't choose to be an advocate. It kind of chose her because of what happened." And that was pretty powerful message in and of itself. Um, but everybody else that was there too, I'd love to get J&J on. I'd love to get people on who are looking for help. All right, let's get some
right.
fleet managers who
Hmm.
say, "Hey, I've got a fleet. I'm running into some problems. What can I do?" Let's talk about it. Let's use our LinkedIn page and make some connections and see what we can do to kind of help some people. You're right. Our industry, is always willing to help out, and I love that. And I just think it's great. The fact that we
Absolutely.
have a podcast to reach people is a testament to that. We're trying to help people with their safety problems. Erin Gilchrist, who's been on the program a number
Right.
of times,
Yep.
does the same. I've been on her podcast. You need to get on it. Um, we were on um, Susan Hibbs' podcast from Nuts.
Hmm. And she was on
We're
ours.
just going back and forth, just
Yeah.
sharing information. Um, there's no excuse for not having a safety program. Um, by you can't use the excuse where I don't know where to find the information because we're putting it out there.
Boy,
And I love that NAFA put together the symposium. I'm hoping that they continue to do something. I'm on the board. I'll continue to push for it. But I think that this was a great meeting, and I was really kind of excited to talk about it on this podcast. You were there. I wasn't. I was on vacation, so shame on me. But
You need that too, buddy. You need that as
yeah, we
well.
need
Yeah.
vacations for sure. Yeah, but I was really excited to hear how it went, and this is great. I'm glad that it was so good. I'm glad that Pam could be on. Let's get J&J on. I mean, they
Yeah,
have
I'll
a great
talk with
program.
Cindy. I think she might be willing to come on. I hope she will. She's a friend and certainly a huge safety advocate. And again, I use J&J as the example of, and they've been doing it for decades. This is
Nice.
not something that isn't just new. Their program uh, evolves. And that was one of the things that we brought up too. We were talking about safety policies and how a policy has to be a living document, and you always
Yes.
have to be working to make sure that what you're doing with your drivers are addressing today's issues. Some of today's issues, obviously, impairment, distraction because of our electronics. Just 10 years ago, we wouldn't have even thought of that. You know, as far as ADAS and Bob, my spin on that, and
Hmm.
we've had people on that spoke about ADAS. I love ADAS. I think advanced driver assistance systems are wonderful, but people need to be educated to the fact that it's not there yet, and they can't let go
Right.
of the wheel, and they need to stay focused on their driving. So we spoke about that during the conference. Um, and like Susan, as I said, was on, and then I wonder, oh my goodness, I can't remember the gentleman's name. Ted Stevens from USIC Locating Services was on, and he is a NETS board member, and he spoke about what they're doing and how they use NETS. Again, what's cool is, okay, so it's NAFA, it's NETS, and then we have the Bobbit programs in the conferences. I know the driver safety conference is coming up out in Santa Clara, I believe, in October. Again, all these things provide resources to us. And that was one of the things. We were sitting around and talking after the first day, and we all agreed, and just what you just mentioned, Bob, there's no excuse, not to address safety. You want to stick your head in the sand, you're a fool. Here's the thing. I don't I don't understand how people cannot take care of this. I don't get where there's a company that it just they fail to address it.
Right.
I mean, and there are a lot of them out there that they don't even run motor vehicle record checks on their drivers. They don't have policies in place. They don't have training in place.
Right.
How can they not? And considering that the crash rates the way they are in this country compared to what they were just in 2019, it's ridiculous. Our crash rates have gone up, our fatalities have gone up, our injuries have gone up every year. And what are we doing about it? We have an opportunity to make a difference here. And and Bob, again, and it was because of this industry you and I met.
Right.
We wouldn't have
Absolutely.
this going on right now if it wasn't
No.
for this industry. So there
Yeah.
are resources available.
Yeah.
Utilize them. Get it going. Start the conversation. Involve your company, and that's one of the things that we spoke about when I was presenting with Cindy from J&J. You have to involve top management, the C-suite, um, and involve legal, involve risk management, involve HR, involve everyone.
Hmm.
Get them on board. You're not on an island with this stuff. And if you want also, you want to become a rock star within your organization, Reduce your crash rate, because guess what? It's going to save you millions, millions
Yes,
and
it
millions.
is.
Oh, well, I don't have that large a fleet. Millions, okay,
Hmm.
because of the litigation, the lawsuits that come out as a result of crashes. Look at the big picture. So just the crash costs, the bent metal, that's one small part of it, and it's not small. Okay, it's huge. The
It's getting
expense
expensive.
associated
Car
with that
parts are
is
expensive
huge,
these
right?
days.
Especially with vehicle replacement, you can't get vehicles, you can't get parts, so the vehicle
Hmm.
sits there. So now you got to get into a rental vehicle. Add all that up: lost time on the job, lost earnings, okay, customer dissatisfaction. And then let's throw the lawsuits in there now, because we are a litigious society in this nation, in the United
Hmm.
States. And I know we have people who are watching this from outside the U.S. Well, guess what? Your costs are also there. You may not get sued, like if if you fart in your vehicle, you're going to get sued. Okay, but in this country, and you may not have that. You may not have that exposure, but guess what? You have exposure to all those other things. And then let's get it right down to the bottom line. It's the right thing to do.
Human life.
It's human life, Bob.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
quality of life. People think, well, crashes are horrible when somebody dies. Absolutely. My family has experienced that. Every person you talk to, do you know somebody who's been killed in a car wreck? And they say, yeah. It might be just somebody they grew up with, or somebody they knew in high school, or, it might be a family member. It might be a close family member.
Hmm.
Everybody knows somebody who's been killed in a car wreck. And that is a hell of a thing to have in common, Bob. It's a hell
Yeah.
of a thing to have in common. Lord, Mr. Ford, what have you done? But um, here's the thing. We, the main reason we're doing this, the main reason that you need to do this, anybody who's listening to this, the main reason why you have to carry this torch and keep beating this drum, what other analogy I can come up with, um, keep it going, because the main thing is we want people to go home safe every day.
That's right.
And, that's the bottom line, man. So that people like Pam O'Donnell don't have to go through what she's going through. God bless
Yeah.
her.
She shouldn't have to be an
No,
advocate because she
no.
lost her husband and daughter. She should be enjoying, time with them. She should be renewing her vows every year.
Yep,
And all of that was taken away. Half her family was taken away
exactly
in
right.
one stupid crash. And one thing that she always points out is she does a lot of time training the police on making sure that they, you know,
Do the right
go
thing.
through with the action. If you pull someone over, don't ever let them go, because
Right.
this person could have been stopped a number of times. Came all the way from New York and was plowing through the New Jersey
Came
Turnpike
through
at 55
Manhattan, the
miles an hour.
Holland Tunnel, then got to the Jersey Turnpike and killed her husband and daughter.
Could have been
How's that
stopped.
guy not stopped? Now,
Officers
listen,
saw that person.
the average drunk driver, and this was one of the stats that Pam put out there, the average drunk driver drives drunk 85 times until they're stopped. And Bob,
Uh,
here's the thing too, and our laws suck in this country.
Absolutely.
Let's not buttercoat this, okay? Our laws suck. They don't have the teeth that they need to have. Our court system needs an enema. And it is absolutely horrible that people who kill somebody when they're impaired, they do not get the same treatment as somebody who would randomly just shoot a gun into the air and kill somebody.
That's
Is
right.
that reckless? Is shooting a gun into the air reckless and killing somebody? Absolutely. And that person should be put in jail for a long time. Well, getting behind the wheel impaired is as or more reckless. That's one single little projectile, but the vehicle is what, a 3 to 4,000 pound missile?
Hmm.
Come on. I just don't understand the difference. A dead is dead.
That's right.
you
Yeah.
know so that was one thing that was always very frustrating to me when I was on the police job, in that impaired drivers who killed somebody were treated differently than somebody who used a gun or a knife. it
That doesn't make any
it's
sense.
reckless, and the result is the same: somebody dies. and,
Yep.
and what I was getting to earlier, and I didn't follow through on it, so people think that losing a life is very bad, and that is. But Bob, worse, and I've said this before in this podcast. How about the situation where somebody's so injured that they now have to have somebody care for them for the rest of their life?
daily reminder of something that happened. Yeah.
I mean, somebody who's no longer able to take care of themselves because of a bad decision behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And Bob, that is gut wrenching. I know one thing I always say, and I have it. I've told my wife, at a certain point, I'm just putting myself into a nursing home. I mean, I'm not. I'm much closer to that than you are, my friend. But I don't want to be a burden on my family. I just don't want to be. I don't want
Hmm.
to be that guy. I don't want my kids or my wife or anybody to have to take care of that. Just, but it's happening. I guarantee you, right now, somebody's being injured to that degree, right as we're speaking, and it affects more than just that person. It
Hmm.
affects it. The crashes cut a very, very wide swath, and
Yeah.
people need to understand. And I think that this safety symposium really magnified the need for organizations and for individuals to take driver safety very seriously. So I was very glad to be a part of that. I was honored that Corey and I were asked to help put this together. And the NAFA staff, by the way, did yeoman's work to get this done.
Yeah,
It was
Bill
amazing.
and the NAFA staff have been amazing. He's put a great staff together.
Yeah.
They're probably some of the best people that I've
Oh,
worked with
they're
at NAFA.
terrific. They really are.
Um, so cheers to them. Kudos to them. But I'm sure you had a chance to talk to Bill. I mean, what was Bill's feedback, and
He
what's the future of a symposium like this again?
So this is the first annual, is what Bill is saying, which I'm
Okay.
hoping that is the case, and God willing, I'll be involved again, because again, Bob, what was really striking to me was the interaction, and it started right from the start. I mean, so it was actually our sponsor was Fleet Core. They sponsored it. They did a fantastic presentation, and then Pam and I went up and did our piece. But the interaction with the audience was what was striking to me, and every presentation was exactly the same. Many great questions, many great comments. People are genuinely interested, and there were a number of people there. I think there were 8 new faces that had never even gone to a NAFA event, previously,
Oh,
but
that's
they
great.
went because they saw safety. That's what brought them there.
Yeah, that's
So all
awesome.
you organizations out there, if you represent an organization, guess what? Safety sells. So take that one. Okay, I don't care how we get people involved, Bob. I'll get them involved.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need to get
You,
them involved.
Yeah, it's really important that we continue to focus on safety because we have all this tech coming. There's the ADAS, and we both have very similar feelings on ADAS. Hey, if we can get technology out there that eliminates crashes one day, perfect. All for it. That's great. Right
Oh
now,
man,
it's not ready, as you said.
it's just not
But
ready.
there's all sorts of devices and technology coming, and companies, I'm afraid, are saying, "Oh, well, we have all this technology. We're not going to have crashes." Guess what? Crashes are still increasing. Deaths are still increasing. Something's not working. We need to go back to basics and make sure that safety is something that we focus on. So hopefully we can keep this going through sponsored by NAFA or through a NAFA event or annually, biannually. It just seems like if there's an opportunity to talk about safety, we should.
Yeah, and if I can, real quick, so one of the presentations was from Corey from NoCell and Lori Olson from Geotab, and they were talking about the technology and how it can help in reducing your crashes and just reducing the risk. Okay, again, I don't think that it's just a one-tiered approach. I think it has to be multi-tiered. Like
For sure.
it's safety training, and it's the dampening of the devices in the vehicle, such as
Hmm.
Corey has been on, Truce has been on. There are companies out there that have this technology, and is it going to get to the point where the attorneys start jumping on this? And this is a
Yeah.
conversation I've had with Corey. It's like it's so if somebody has a crash and it's due to the fact that they were on their phone and they were distracted and somebody gets injured, how are the attorneys going to then how it works, everything gets discovered, everything is discoverable. They'll find emails saying, okay, so you received this information from this company, where if you had used this technology that would have dampened their cell phone use while driving, this crash would not have happened, and my poor victim here would not have, the poor victim who is filing a lawsuit against you wouldn't be in this, but wouldn't be suffering. I'm telling you, Bob, it's going to happen. The attorneys are going to jump on this stuff, and people better be aware. They
Yep.
better start understanding that, hey, there are consequences to not, having this technology. Geotab, Azuga, all these, telematics companies. It's not just a one-tier approach. It has to be multiple tiers of action. The training, the dampening of the devices, the watching the drivers through the telematics, and then reacting to what the information that's providing. It has to be multiple, like I said, multiple tiers, multiple layered. It has to be a multi-layered approach,
Yep.
and that's
Yep.
what that was brought out very well, I think, during the symposium.
Yeah. A good attorney is going to claim a company is negligent for not using certain
Exactly right.
technology if they were aware of it, if
Right.
it had been presented to them. And they'll say, oh, you chose to not
Right.
use this device.
Mm-hmm.
And now little Johnny doesn't have a father. I mean,
Right.
they're
No,
good. They're good.
and I've been to court a lot, and man, they pull out, they hand out, handkerchiefs beforehand because people are going to be crying. I mean,
In
they want to, show that a victim is a victim, and they're
any
going to
case
pull.
that,
Oh,
yeah,
they're going to pull everything
any
out.
case that goes to a jury, juries are very sympathetic to the injured. So
Exactly.
if it goes to the jury, you've lost,
No, well,
and you've lost
that's
probably
fact.
a lot more
Yeah,
money.
that's
That's why a
exactly
lot of
right.
companies settle. So,
Yep.
well, hey, listen, Phil. We don't want to carry these on too long. Again,
Yeah.
you and I can get together and talk for hours about this, but it could make our audience get a little bored. But what that just tells us that we just need to have more of these. We need to have some new guests on. We have a plethora of guests just waiting in the wings, actually, which is
Yeah.
I think is awesome. But I'm really glad that we got to talk about the safety symposium. I'm glad that the safety symposium was successful, and as engaging as it was. I love the speakers, and there's a lot of people out there that can do another symposium and talk about, their stories and their successes as well. So hopefully we can keep it going, and hopefully I can be involved in the next one. But thank you for putting it together, and Corey and Lori and everybody that spoke. Um, a lot of those people have been guests on our show,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
only a
I know.
couple that still we need to get on that were there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. But maybe then, the next one we'll have to do another live broadcast from the show or something.
Yeah, I think those went really well at the INE and then FINE, and yeah, I'm up to it. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
was a lot of fun, and it was great just getting to talk to people and some of the things that they're doing. Um, and I love what Truce is doing. I love what Corey's doing with No Cell. And you know, I have a company of fleet vehicles, and that's one of the ones that I'm trying to get into my fleet next,
right.
as far as turning off these damn cell phones, because they are causing um,
Yeah,
probably the root cause of most of our preventable crashes,
I
and
think,
I'm
yeah,
tired of it.
and we're never going to know the real number because people don't readily admit that they were on the phone when they crash. Whether it be hands free or
No,
handset, they're not
yeah,
going to admit it. So unless phone records are pulled, so I see a 25% are caused from distraction. It's far higher than that, and that was one of the
oh
things
for
that
sure,
also was brought out during
yeah,
the symposium. That now distraction is far more than 25% of the reasons
yeah,
why people are
yeah.
crashing.
I am happy to see some of the laws that are getting around. Ohio and Michigan both have a hands-free law, and I think
Yeah,
that that's great. It's a good start.
it's a
I'm
start.
not a fan of even having a conversation
Absolutely,
hands-free,
right.
um, but states are starting to pay attention, and
They
and
are.
they're starting to come through. Holding the device isn't what causes it, but it's a win. We've had Steve Kiefer on from the Kiefer
Right, and
Foundation.
he
He
does
lost his son.
just fantastic work with the Steve and his and the Kiefer Foundation do amazing work
Yep.
in reducing distractions. So kudos to him and his organization, all the work that they're doing. Again, as a result of an absolutely tragic loss of
Yep.
his son.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, Phil, thank you so much, and you have a great 4th of July. Have a very safe weekend. Be careful out there. this is probably one of the worst holidays for impaired driving.
Here in the
Even if
U.S.,
you're not,
yeah, they have a
pardon?
4th of July everywhere else in the world, but here we celebrate it
Yes, as a holiday,
as a
it
holiday.
is. It is a holiday
Independence
in
Day,
the
right?
States. Um, it is the 4th of July everywhere else. But even if you're having a summer picnic or a summer barbecue and you're having some beverages or some other um, legal substance that's out there these days, be careful. Don't get behind the wheel. It's
Right.
not worth it. And even if you're not the one injured, somebody who's not impaired could be injured, and you'll have to live with that the rest of your life. So let's just be safe out there, and you know, don't get behind the wheel if you're impaired.
Exactly.
All right, Phil, till the next one, thank you so much. It's great
Hey,
to see you
Ron.
again.
Good seeing you. Welcome back.
All right. Yeah, thanks. Don't work
Take
too
care,
hard.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah,
be well.
take care.
Be
Bye.
well, be safe.